Good morning and welcome to Grief Study Hall with Sharon Brubaker. I am the owner of the Grief School, the place where healing begins, and I am doing my study hall in live today because I'm traveling to my uncle's funeral, which will be this weekend in Los Angeles. My uncle died just before 4th of July. And he is absolutely my favorite uncle. His name is Uncle Preston, and I absolutely love him. And I'm really close with his daughter, with one of his daughters, with both of his daughters. They're my cousins. I was raised with them. And they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women. And I'm going to be traveling to his funeral. And so I'm doing the live today. I'm doing Grief Study Hall in the live today so it can hang out all day so other people can get a chance to experience it and really see what a live with Sharon is all about. So I'm welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Hold on, because I just opened the wrong form. I got to open my notes. Okay, we're going to start with some questions today. And I want you guys to all understand, I think that most of you know this, that you're not still hurting because of time, because of how short it's been or how long it's been. You're hurting because grief is painful. Grief is painful, and it was always meant to be painful, but that pain serves a purpose. And that's what we need to be talking about. Let me pull this down. You guys would not even believe my morning. It was absolutely crazy. That's not what I want either. What is this? Where are my notes? Hold on. Hold, please. I'm probably going to be deleting my notes. Okay, let's see what happens here. All right. Yep, looks like I just deleted them. All right. My first question for you today is this. Here's my first question to everybody that's here. What part of your grief are you pretending doesn't hurt anymore, but it still does? What part of your grief are you pretending doesn't hurt anymore, but it still does? Is there a part of your grief that feels like to you that it doesn't hurt? Is there a part of your grief that you're not sharing with anybody? Do you get upset when people invite you to events? Are you getting upset about that? Do you get upset? Does the grief come up when people don't talk to you about it? Are you pretending when you go out in public that you don't have grief? Are you pretending when you're around your kids? This is huge. Are you pretending when you're around your kids that you're not grieving? If you're grieving the loss of a child, are you pretending like you're okay in front of your spouse? Are you pretending that you're okay in front of your spouse so that he or she doesn't know how bad this hurts? Are you pretending in front of family members? Are you pretending to yourself? Are you pretending to yourself that this is getting better? Do you act within yourself as if this is okay? And it's not like we're acting like this is okay, but sometimes what we tend to do is just keep, hi, Christy. We keep the facade on like we can manage this. We keep the facade on like we can manage this grief. Like, I got this. And sometimes in the I got this, we're actually trying to convince ourselves. Sometimes when we're doing the I got this, we're really just trying to convince ourselves, not the people in the room, not the other people, but ourselves. So that's my question for today. Who are you pretending that the grief is okay for? Is it you? Is it them? Is it your kids? Are you pretending like you're okay, that you're your kids? You're not still hurting because of time. You're still hurting because you never learned how to grieve. And I don't know how many times I can say that. When I tell you that I didn't know how to grieve, I am not kidding. When I tell you I walked out that door and I did not know how to grieve, I am not kidding. Here's the other thing that I know. I didn't know then, but there's a distinct way to grieve. You were told to be strong. You saw your family be strong. You saw them act strong. You told yourself to stay busy. Your family was acting busy. People were acting busy at the same time. Hold on one second. Debbie. Yes, Debbie just texted me. But no one told you how to live after loss. No one's told you how to live after loss. Hey, Miss Judy, look at you. No one's told you how to live after a broken heart. They just keep telling you, you got to move on. The world forces us to fake it until we make it. If we don't absolutely go after this grief, if we don't go after the broken heart, the world is going to force us to fake it until we make it. Grief is not healed by time. Grief is not healed by pretending. Grief is not healed by pretending it's okay. It's healed when we face it. And friends, when I tell you what we are facing is ugly, it is ugly. And finally, some of us start to understand that there's no way around it. So here's grief. Here's grief in your broken heart. There is no way around this. You're not going to go this way. You're not going to go this way. You're not going to go this way. You're not going to skirt just under it. You can't just go under it and think you're going to get through it. The only way out of this pain is absolutely right through the grief pain. You've got to go right to the center of it. And right through the center of it is ugly. It's painful. It's tiring. It's exhausting. And that's what we're talking about today. Friends, my name is Sharon Brubaker, and I'm the owner of the Grief School. The Grief School is a private university and the place where healing begins. In 2006, my nephew drowned at the lake. In 2006, I realized that I didn't know anything about grief. I realized I didn't know anything about grief or a broken heart. I didn't know anything about grief, a broken heart, or how to move beyond this pain. I did not know how to move this pain. And I'm here to tell you today, hey, good morning, Rebecca. I'm here to tell you today that it was a challenge for me to figure this out. And not only that, because I have worked through the grief and I have cracked the code on grieving, I am not gatekeeping. I'm sharing it with anybody. And those are definitely words that I've learned from YouTube. But here we are. Okay, friends. When Austin drowned at the lake on 2006 on Father's Day weekend, and I walked up the stairs to tell my sister that he had in fact drowned and that we had lost him, there was something that I knew. I knew that I didn't know how to grieve. I knew that I didn't know how to grieve, but more than that, I knew that I didn't know how to move past this pain. I knew that I didn't know how to move past this pain, and without help, I was never going to be able to do that. Without the help that I so desperately desired, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do that. But here's the deal. There was nobody out there. There was nobody out there to help me. I couldn't find them. I couldn't find the help. Hold on one second. Yes, it's on Facebook. Go have him go to Healing Starts with the Heart and like the page. If he likes the page, he can get in. It's also on YouTube. Debbie, it's on YouTube on Healing Starts with the Heart. He can also find me there. So this live is on YouTube at Healing Starts with the Heart. It's on Facebook at Healing Starts with the Heart. And it's also on the private Facebook group. Okay. So hopefully he can find it in one of those places. And if not, we can send him the link. All right. Awesome, friends. I knew that I was going to have to figure this thing out because here's what I thought, you guys, and I tell you this all the time, and this is so true. I thought Erica was broken. I thought Erica was broken and that I was going to have to help her figure out this grieving thing. And the truth is, what I found was absolutely so sad. Hey, Miss Kathy, it was so sad. There was nobody out there giving us information. There was the 5 stages. Now, I had learned the 5 stages in college, and Erica had learned the 5 stages in college. So here we are with these 5 stages that we are absolutely working through, right? Here's how naive I was. I thought only Erica was doing the 5 stages. That's how naive I was. Miss Joanne, you made it. Look at you. I thought only Erica was doing the 5 stages, not me. Okay. And because I thought only Erica was doing this 5 stages, because I only thought she was going to grieve, I really thought that she was going to have to be the support. I want to share this, you guys. You guys, ladies, I didn't come by this. I didn't come by this. I didn't make it up. I didn't come by it accidentally. It absolutely happened to me. Okay. I was 16 years old, and my Aunt Carol, a beautiful lady, passed away. She died when I was 16. What I saw were my parents grieve. I saw my parents grieve. I saw them do the thing that I absolutely did. My parents did not cry. They didn't do any crying. They showed up as strong. They brought the food. Here I am, 16 years old, and my parents never came and talked to me about grief. They didn't tell me what grief was. They didn't tell me what grief was. I saw them be strong. They were not crying. They brought the food. They orchestrated the funeral. They answered all the phone calls. And I was 16 years old, and this is what I saw. And that's what I remembered. That's absolutely what I remember. So here I am, 30 years later, and Austin is 10 years old, and he dies. He drowns at the lake on Father's Day weekend, my beautiful, beautiful nephew. And here's me. I am devastated and in pain, but I don't know that I'm devastated in pain. I don't know that I'm absolutely broken, because I went to the first part of grief that we know about, and that is intellectual. I went into my brain. I went into my brain. Is he here, Miss Debbie? I went into my brain to try to figure out this grief, and part of my brain was looking over here at my beautiful sister. I was looking at her, and she was absolutely crying. She was crying and broken. And my brain was telling me I knew what to do because I'd already seen the story. Hey, brother, so glad you're here. I had already seen the story. I'd lived this story before. I knew what to do. I saw my parents do it when my aunt died. When my aunt died, I saw my parents not cry, be strong, and handle the food. I'm saying the food, but they handled the funeral. They handled all of the stuff. So here I am, all of these years later, and my brain is almost like I have an idea. If you guys see that on the kids' shows, and I did exactly what I'd seen many years earlier. We are not taught how to grieve. We witness grief. We witness grief multiple times. And the grief that we witness multiple times is the same way we throw that grief onto other people. We throw that same grief and that grief healing into our experience because we think we know what we're doing. We think we know what we're doing. This, friends, came about by what I saw my parents do multiple times. They showed up as strong. Okay, so that's where I want to start today. We were not taught how to grieve. And my first question was, what are you pretending? What part of your grief are you pretending doesn't hurt anymore? But it still does. Are you pretending with your kids? Are you pretending with your spouse? Are you pretending with your friends? Are you pretending every time you go to work? Are you pretending every time you get an invitation, you're going to go to that party even though you don't want to? What part of your grief are you still pretending with? Because this was pretending. It was my only survival technique. It was the only thing that I knew how to do. I wanted to help her. I didn't know how to help her. So this is how I showed up. And when I showed up as strong, I wasn't crying. I wasn't crying in front of her. I wasn't crying in front of my kids. What part of your grief are you still pretending in? This is today's lesson that I want to teach. Grief doesn't go away just because you're quiet about it. Grief doesn't go away just because you're quiet about it. Friends, welcome to Grief Study Hall. Today I'm doing Grief Study Hall on the live on Facebook, and that's because I'm traveling today. So this will be the first time that you guys will see me here, but I wanted to be able to leave this for everyone. So I'm doing Grief Study Hall live in the Facebook today. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that is here. I see you. I absolutely see you. And because you're here, I know something about you. I know that you're grieving. And I also know that you're grieving deeply. I know that you're grieving deeply, and I know that you're looking for help to move this pain. Those are the two very important things that I know about you. And I'm so glad that you're here. Grief Study Hall is going to be the place where we stop pretending. Grief Study Hall is the place where we stop hiding, where we start hoping that time alone will fix this. Your grief is not going to dissolve if you just wait long enough. It doesn't melt away. We can be as strong as possible. We can be doing all the things. It ain't going anywhere. Will it settle? Yes. Will it settle in our heart and just kind of get down there just enough so we can manage daily? Yes. Will it give us a shift? Like my friend Debbie said, absolutely. It won't fade just because you stay busy. You won't outgrow it like a bad haircut. So, you guys know the difference between a bad haircut and a good haircut? I'm just kidding. My husband says this all the time. It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the difference between a bad haircut and a good haircut. Grief doesn't do that. You don't get to get a bad haircut and just wait for it to grow out. You don't just get to come into grief and just wait for it to grow out. And you don't heal because someone else has moved on beyond the grief. If Erica had moved on beyond the grief, if Erica had figured this out, if Erica had moved on past her grief and was out living her life when her son Austin died, and I didn't do one thing about it, I promise you I would still be grieving Austin. And I promise you I would be pretending. And I promise you I'd be hiding. Why? Think about this, you guys. If Erica had gone back to her life and was doing everything that I thought looked normal, right? I would be hiding the grief that I was still having because I wouldn't show it to her. I wouldn't show it to my kids. I wouldn't show it to my family. And that happens a lot to us. Our spouse moves on. Our spouse starts to pretend like they're okay. Our spouse starts to go back to the parties. They're not crying. And we get forced to pretend that we're okay because other people in our family start to act as if they're okay. Some of you have stayed quiet for so long. Some of you have stayed quiet for so long so that the grief in this world, other people around you can assume that you're doing better. You just stay quiet. You stay silent. People have stopped asking you about the grief, so you just stay quiet about it. People assume you're doing better because you're not talking about it, so they're not going to talk about it. People have stopped noticing. They've stopped noticing it. You know what I hear the most often? I don't want to make other people feel bad. I don't want to make other people feel bad. Excuse me. Excuse me. Make them feel bad. Let's make them feel bad. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but hear me out. We need to learn how to grieve. They need to learn how to grieve too. Grief feels bad, period. It feels like crap. It sucks, period. That's what grief is. They've stopped asking. They've stopped noticing. They've stopped offering help. So we pull back. Forces us to pretend. In fact, some of you have stayed quiet for so long in this grief, the world assumes that you're better. That's the sentence I was trying to say earlier. Maybe you thought that this was some sort of relief at first. Well, they're not asking, so I'm not going to ask him. But deep down, you can still feel it. You can't walk past the hallway with the pictures are up. When I tell you your science is not healing you, it just buried you, and it buried the grief so deep along with you and your spirit and your soul. That's the truth. And now you're carrying a pain that nobody sees. You're carrying the pain that nobody sees, and now you've buried it so long, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. For 2 years, you've been pretending it's okay. Oh my gosh, I can't bring it up now. They're going to think I lost my mind. And now you're carrying a pain that nobody sees, and maybe even you started to believe that you're healed. By the 2-year mark, I promise you, by the 2-year mark, you probably can walk past the pictures. You can walk past the pictures. You can hear their name. You're still crying in private. You're not really engaging in a lot of things. Other things may be happening. At the 2-year mark, if you're still pretending, my guess is you're taking the grief out as a reaction and not actually processing the grief. So let me explain that. And that I'm just sidetracking, but if you've gone 2 years without processing your grief, without talking about your grief, and without absolutely moving beyond the pain, at this 2-year mark, what's probably mostly happening is that you're reacting with everybody else and about things that are happening in your life. You're making your grief a lot about this and not that. When we make our grief about this and not that, we make it about all the thises. We make it about all the thises. We look over there and we're like, why did she plant those roses? She knows I don't like roses in the front yard. Why did she do that? We get a flat tire. We get a flat tire and we go out and we're so frustrated. We beat the crap out of our car. We sit on the side of the road and we don't even know what to do. People give you the wrong product and you make such a big deal about it. Because one of the things that we do in our grief, especially when we're making it about this, is we react. We react by yelling, screaming, crying, pushing, arguing. And every time you react in the this, which is not your grief, every time you react in it, it feels like you're moving some negative emotion and pressure out. And when you're moving the negative emotion and pressure out, it feels like you're getting a relief. And you are getting a relief, but you're getting the relief about the this, not that. And that is your grief. That is the grief. That is the grief. And we spend a lot of time in this. There's a lot of us have spent a lot of time in this. So when you're carrying pain no one sees, and maybe even you started to believe that you're healing just a little bit, I promise you, this is what's going on. I promise you that this is what's going on, because we've got to go through the pain in order to move it. Here's the truth. Most people aren't healing, they're hiding. That's huge. Most grievers are not healing because they've been told the big lie. And the big lie is that grief you will be in grief for the rest of your life. That is the biggest lie we've been told. You will feel like this for the rest of your life. You might as well just buckle in because you're going to be like this for the rest of your life. And that is the biggest lie out there. And it is not true. Oh, honey, just give it time. I promise you're going to feel better in time. And then you have other people say, you never get over the loss of a child. You never get over the loss of a child. You never get over the loss of your spouse. You guys had the most perfect relationship. Your relationship was so beautiful. You had something so grand and so beautiful. You're never going to get over this. I want to tell you something. I want each and every one of you that's here, and I want you to understand this. Not one of you here is going to get over anything. We're not getting over anything. We're going through it. We are not getting over anything. We're going to go through it. You probably noticed that there are a lot of people around you who are not grieving out loud or who never grieved out loud. There's a lot of us who aren't grieving out loud. We're grieving in our cars. We're grieving behind our steering wheel. We're grieving in the grocery store aisle. We're grieving in the bathroom stalls. We're not sharing this with people. I'm at the 2-year mark. I'm not telling them that I'm still grieving. They're going to think I lost my mind. We're doing everything in our power not to look broken. We even go to the party. Hi. And we're thinking, do they know that I'm totally in pain? Do they know I can't breathe? Inside, you want to scream, I'm grieving! I need him back! You want everyone to know that, but that's not what you're getting. You're over here doing this. I know, it's so cute. I'm so glad I came. Thank you for inviting me. I don't know what I would have done if you didn't invite me. Girl, I would have stayed home and grieved. People have told you don't cry at work. Do not cry at work. You don't want your bosses to see that you're weak. I'm going to write these out so you guys can see them. Even in my sloppy writing. Don't cry at work. Let me tell you something. When they tell you don't cry at work, here's what we hear. When people tell you don't cry at work, this is what we hear. Because don't cry at work also means don't cry in front of the children. C-H-I. My God, I spelled that wrong. Don't cry in front of the children. Don't cry in front of the spouse. Don't cry in front of the family. Don't cry in front of friends. Don't cry at church. All you hear is this. But what they told you was don't cry at work. And this is what we heard. Don't cry. Don't bring it up again. Honey, you got to stop talking about it. Because they don't come straight out and say, don't bring it up again. They would never say that to you. They say, honey, you got to stop talking about this. People are tired of hearing this story. Don't bring it up. When I tell you that grievers need to talk, it is the number one thing. When I tell you that they need to talk about their grief, and hear me out, you guys. If I had never talked to Erica, I didn't know this. I absolutely didn't know this. But we were talking every single day. We were doing the first step of grief without even realizing we were doing the first step. I called Erica every day on the phone. I called her every day. And we always talked about the grief. And it didn't matter what we were talking about. We could have been talking about the weather, but it always went back to her grief story. And she always started with, and then you called me on the phone. And she would repeat that grief story over and over again. Hear me out. She was also talking to other people about the grief. And there were 21 family members on the trip when Austin died. She was not there. She talked to each and every one of them. And what was happening was her little brain was starting to put together this grief story. Her little brain was starting to put together her grief story. My friends, when I tell you we all have a grief story, we all have a grief story. You have a grief story. I have a grief story. I have multiple grief stories. Here's the other thing. You have multiple grief stories as well. Erica was starting to, by intellectually talking to other people, by emotionally crying with other people, she was able to put together her grief story about her son Austin drowning at the lake on Father's Day weekend when she wasn't there. Right? When we hear people say, don't cry at work and don't bring it up, stop talking about it. I don't want to hear this story anymore. You need to stop talking about it. And the number one thing that the griever needs to do is talk about the grief. You're not better. You should be better. You should be better by now. How come you're not better? You should. You should be better right now. You should move on. You should stop talking about it. You should stop bringing it up. You should not cry at work. Thank you. Thank you, Bob, for helping me with my grief. Bob, my next door neighbor, 7 doors down. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your grief story about how you did this and how it's going to work for me, because it ain't working for me. You should be better by now. I have a beautiful, beautiful client whose husband died in a fire. He was a fireman. She was posting on social media, I can't believe it's been 3 months. I can't believe you've been out of my sight for 3 months. Friends, imagine 3 months. First of all, there's 3 weeks of that 3 months where you're planning the funeral and doing the funeral stuff. There's 3 weeks of that part where you're just trying to get your brain wrapped around what just happened. And it is not cooperating. 3 weeks of that 3 month. Then everybody goes away and all of a sudden this silence comes up. And you're like, dude, where did everybody go? So 3 months, she was writing a letter to her husband. It's been 3 months since I've seen your face. That was the quote. And somebody said, girl, you're not over this yet? What the hell? Can you guys imagine? Can you imagine telling someone who lost their spouse that at 3 months they should be over this? And as I said, no one is getting over anything. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. They want you to move on because they need you to show up as normal. They need you to show up as typical. They need you to tell them that it's okay. They need you to tell them that this pain is okay. They need you to tell them that this brokenness is okay. So it's time for you to move on. And girl, you better keep it together for your kids. Hey, it's keep it together for the kids. But here's what you hear. Keep it together. It's time. You should. Don't bring it up. Don't cry. They're telling us this stuff, and then this becomes our grief healing journey. This becomes the things we start doing in our grief healing journey. We start keeping it together. We start trying to move the time, or we sit within the time. And then you've been told the biggest lie of all. Strong women don't fall apart. They don't fall apart. They don't cry in front of their children. They don't cry at work. They don't bring up their story. Strong women, strong women, strong women, strong women. Hear me out. The strongest thing you will do, male or female, the strongest thing you will do is grieve your person. The strongest thing you will do in your life is show up as a griever. The strongest thing you will do in your life is say, I am broken. That's what takes real strength. Pretending doesn't take strength. Pretending is the coward way. It takes courage to grieve. It takes courage for you to show up every day as a griever. It takes courage for you to show up as a griever and really be there and be okay with all of this crap that they're telling you. Let them say it. It's not true. You are not going to get over this grief. Number one, you're not going to get through the grief without crying. You're not going to get through it without talking. You're not going to get through it with pretending that you should. Time is not going to heal this. Keeping it all together in front of the kids, in front of the pastor, in front of the spouse is not going to heal this. I'm telling you, the strongest thing you ever do in life is grief. Is absolutely grief. Here's what I want to tell you today in Grief Study Hall. All of those are lies. They're all lies. These are all lies. They're the lies that people tell us. Hear me out. They're the lies, and it's part of the misinformation. There is so much misinformation out here about grief. There's so much misinformation. It is 2025. It is 2025. In 2006, when Austin drowned at the lake, I went onto Google, and I'm telling you, Google is not what it is now because you have all put information in on Google, and now it has information to give me, right? So in 2006, I went on Google and I found the 5 stages. I will also tell you this. There was also 7 stages and 13 stages. There was a bunch of stages. You could learn them all kind of different ways. People had taken the 5 stages and they were continuing to keep it grow. This is a lie. This is misinformation that's out there about your grief. And we've all bought into it and we all believe it. Here's the truth. Strong women fall apart. And I'm going to say strong people in honor of Debbie's brother. Strong people fall apart. They fall apart. They fall apart in their grief. Strong people fall apart in their grief. Strong people scream. We scream, and it's absolutely okay. We fall to our knees. We lose our breath. We can't breathe. We sob in the darkness. We sob into our pillow. We sob in the darkness. We cry. Strong people scream, cry, and they grieve. We cry in the shower. We talk about our grief. We share our grief. We don't care if people tell us to be over it and not talk about it. We're still talking about it. And guess what else strong people do? They know that once they've done this and talk, they know that once they've done this and they talk about the grief, we talk about the grief. We talk about the grief. We share the grief, even the ugly parts of grief. And when they've done all of that, they know they're ready to heal, not by accident and not with time and not by stuffing it down, but by grieving out loud. We grieve out loud. Why are you still hurting? If you're here and you're still hurting, why are we still hurting? And let's talk about why we might be stuck. It still hurts so much. It still hurts so much. I can't talk about it. I can't share my person. I can't go there. Let's talk about why you're stuck. Why it still hurts so darn much. Because you did do some things right. You did do some things right. You went back to work. You didn't just stay at home and cry. You went back to work. You smiled when you were supposed to. You pretended that you were okay. You even went back to church again. You went back to church. You've tried journaling for a little while. That kind of helps for a minute. You did the journaling thing. You joined therapy. I love it. You went to talk therapy and you were able to talk through a lot of it. You joined a grief support group. You didn't really like the grief support group, but you didn't try others. You read a couple of books. You listened to the podcast. And then you went, well, I tried. And none of these worked like you hoped that they would. Why? Because no one taught you how to actually grieve. No one taught you how to look into your heart and find the brokenness. No one taught you how to go in there and find the brokenness. The number one thing that no one told you is that there's two forms of grief. There's intellectual grief and there's emotional grief. And all of those things I just told you about are all from the intellect. They're all from the brain. The brain 100% is going to try to find an answer to the problem. So it's going to send you back to work. It's going to tell you that it's okay, that you're supposed to be like this. You're going to go back to church. I went back to church. I needed it, but I didn't get what I needed in church. I absolutely didn't get what I needed in church. You tried journaling, you tried the support group, and none of it worked like you hoped because you weren't taught how to actually grieve. You weren't taught that the grief is right here in your heart. That this is the part, you see that arrow? This is the part we're going after, not this part. You weren't taught how to lean into it. You weren't taught how to pull the grief out from the corners of your body where it's been hiding for days, weeks, and months. You weren't taught that it's okay to feel these negative emotions and to fall apart, even in public. How to break without destroying, and how to review your relationship with your person. What was left unsaid? What is incomplete for you? What is unfinished for you in your relationship? That's what I'm looking for. That's what we're looking for in the grief. And that's what we teach here at the Grief School. The Grief School is why I created the Grief School, is because no one is teaching us this. No one is teaching us grief. Friends, when I tell you I've cracked the code, I have cracked the code. All right, real quick, commercial. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm the owner of the Grief School. If you're here today, you probably follow me on the Facebook page. Healing Starts with the Heart or the Grief School. I am a griever. and I teach women how to grieve. I sit with you so you can feel supported, heard, and understood. I absolutely work with men, but I don't work with them in the group. I want you to hear this today. Grief lives in your bones. It lives in your joints. It lives in your muscles. And it is not just emotional. It's not just your thoughts. It's not just you missing them. Grief shows up in your body. Fatigue, tension, weight loss, right? Weight changes, weight gain, headaches, back pain, fog, forgetfulness, confusion, zoning out, guilt, rage, jealousy, emptiness, and crazy beliefs like maybe I deserve this. I didn't, you know what? I didn't show up for so and so 3 years ago, so I probably deserve this. Friends, I created the grief school for this because we didn't know what to do with the grief. And I went out there to figure out this grief thing, and it wasn't there. I started this earlier. I'm sorry, you guys. In 2006, I went onto Google and there was this 5 stages. Here I am, right? 18 years later, and the grief has evolved and changed, but I still see people out there slinging the bullshit. Sorry, I just got to call it what it is. Telling you you're going to be like this forever, getting you stuck into grief support groups that you don't move on. Grief support group is a place to pass through and go to the healing. Even grief study hall is a place to pass through. I don't know how long you're going to come. But if you're just sitting in grief support after support after support after support, your grief is not going to move. I promise you that. It is not going to move. All right. On Sunday, July 20th, I'm doing a class called Grieve That Shit. I'm going to do it for some multiple Sundays. And it's called Grieve That Shit. And that's where I will actually be able to coach with you live, teach you some deeper grief. So we're going to continue having grief study hall, not always in the lives. Today's in the lives because I'm traveling. But we'll continue to have grief study hall. But I really want to invite you guys to Grieve That Shit. It is on the 20th. It's on the 20th of July. And it is going to be a Zoom. It's going to be a Zoom. And I'm excited to have you invite you guys all there. All right. Geez, I'm telling you guys, I really got my notes jacked up. Okay. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Let me tell you why you're still stuck. Nope, I taught that already. Hold on. Hold, please. Where did I go? Okay, I did it. I did the full body. Okay. I want you guys to hear this today. There's Miss Judy. You're so welcome, Miss Judy. I want you guys to hear this today. Grief is not going to just move. It has set up camp. And you cannot evict it. You can evict it. That's a lie. You can evict it, but you got to go after it. So you got to serve it an eviction notice. You've got to serve this grief an eviction notice. One of the ways that I want to talk about this is showing up in grief study hall. Why grief study hall? I'm the owner of the grief school. You came back to school. I want you to think of going back to school. And this is a degree that is bigger than any degree you'll ever have. It is bigger than any degree you will ever have. The grief school is a place where you're going to come. I'm offering different programs where you can sit in those programs and you can learn. But why grief study hall? Why did I call this grief study hall? Because when you were struggling in algebra, they sent you to study hall. What happens in study hall? There is a tutor in there. There's a teacher in there who's helping you walk through the algebra. Who's helping you walk through the grief? Who's answering the questions about the grief for you? Who's telling you how to do this grief thing? Who's telling you that this grief thing is okay? Who's telling you that you did that right? Sharon, I cried all night long. Good. A lot of the ladies laugh at this because they'll say, someone will come into the grief study hall and they'll say, I don't want to empty the closet. So don't. Don't empty the closet. Who's giving you the pressure? And I break it down. It's not just this pain. There's things under the pain that you never even considered. We got to find this part. We got to find all of the little parts that you aren't even considering. There are parts of grief that are connected that you didn't even consider. I sat with a beautiful lady yesterday. And when we first started doing her work, she was telling me all these amazing stories about her childhood. All these 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Rebecca. She was telling me all these amazing stories about her childhood. The link for it will be in the Facebook today, in the Facebook group today. The link for Grief Study Hall will be in the Facebook today. She was telling me all these amazing stories about her childhood. And I finally just asked her a different question. I just asked it in a different way. I didn't know. And the question was, how did they show up for you? And in that, we were able to find the parts that were hiding under the grief. And now we're working through that. How did they show up for you? I don't know what questions need to be asked. Sometimes I ask the questions and people think I'm looking for something like I know the answer. I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing the question out there. Why am I just throwing the question out there? Because I want you to dig deep. If you've been 6 months, a year, 3 years, that grief is deep. That grief is deep, and we got to find it. We've got to find that grief. All right. I want you guys to answer this in the chat. What is the one thing you wish you could say to your person today that you have never said? What's the one thing you need to say today? What's something you need to say to your person? I'm going to write mine too. Mine is thank you, Austin. Thank you, Austin, for teaching me how to grieve so that you and I could change the world on how people grieve. Judy James says, I'm sorry. I wasn't perfect for you. Judy. Rebecca said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. That's what I would say to Tracy. Thank you. It's Hermana? Is that sister? Hermana. I think I'm pronouncing that right, or close to it. I'm guessing. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Austin. If I saw him, I would say, dude, you're changing the world. You're changing the world. I tell your story every single day. You are alive for so many people. I'm so sorry that this was your journey, but you are changing the world. I'm glad that you were happy when you suddenly departed. I'm glad that you were happy. Yes, Sandra said yes. If someone asked you today, hey, mama, if someone asked you today, how's your grief doing today? What part would you be the most honest about? What would your most honest answer be? How is your grief doing today? If anybody asked you, If your best friend came up to you and said, "Hey girl, how's the grief?" What would you say? Mom, thank you for always being here with me. What is the most honest answer that you would give if someone said, "How's your grief today?" Paula said, "Not good, struggling." EK said, it's shifting and loosening. Even with that, there's secondary grief, absolutely secondary grief. Tina White said, I would say hanging in there. Would any of you say this is hard? This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I didn't realize this was going to be so hard. Debbie said she would say, I'm on my healing journey. Rebecca said she would say, it's still there and it needs a lot of attention. It's still there and it needs a lot of attention. It still needs help. Hey, anyone, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to answer them here. There was a question. How old was your nephew? Rebecca, he was 10. This is Rebecca Lynn Snow. Austin was 10 years old when he drowned at the lake on Father's Day weekend. That was 2006. In 2014, my dad died of prostate cancer on Christmas Day. And he was 73. He was 73. And I know a lot of us will go to that first thought, which is he lived a good life. At least he was no longer in pain. And even though that is true, even though that is intellectually true, even though that is true for my brain, my heart was in pain. My heart absolutely missed him, and I needed him. In 2014, Donovan, who was, I tell you guys this all the time. I say he was 21. He was 2 weeks from his 21st birthday. Not only was he 2 weeks from his 21st birthday, my family makes a big deal out of the 21st. All the kids got a big 21st birthday. Donovan was 2 weeks from his 21st birthday, and we were planning on celebrating that at a speakeasy. No, I'm sorry, a juke joint in Louisiana. We were going to Louisiana for a wedding. We were going to this juke joint called Teddy's, and it's way back in these hills and mountains. It's hidden way back. It's called Teddy's. It's absolutely amazing. It's so fun if you guys ever get a chance to go there. It's right outside of Baton Rouge in Louisiana. He died in the motorcycle 2 weeks before his 21st birthday. He would have actually turned 21, and then the next weekend we would have been at the wedding. We still went to Teddy's. To honor him. That's what Erica asked. We still went to the wedding. Friends, when I tell you, I could still see the look on her face. There is a look that grievers have. It is this far off stare. It's this look of trying to pretend like you're okay, but the eyes say it all. I can still see her dancing on the dance floor and then just looking so sad. And that was 2015. In 2017, my best friend, Sharon, died of prostate. My best friend didn't have a prostate. She died of glioblastoma. And that was in 2017. Those are most of the griefs that I share. I also lost my grandparents, of course, right? I've also been married for many, many years, for 40 years. That is a grieving experience. Trust me, it is. And I've lost both sets of grandparents, and my life has changed. There are 47 or more known losses that can cause a grieving experience in your heart. Death and divorce are just the most that we all talk about. Death and divorce are the ones we mostly talk about. Jerry says, feeling sad today. She would say, feeling sad today. I'm on my healing journey. Aida says, I'm okay. Yes, this was super hard, close to important dates especially. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely the hardest thing I've ever done. Absolutely the hardest thing I've ever done. Today, my grief is here and there. And yes, it's fucking hard. My heart to you. I'm going on the 3rd year of losing my son this August, sending you love. I say that constantly. This is the hardest thing I'm going through. It's the hardest thing that we go through. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. But first, I need my examples. I need my examples. Where are my examples? Hold on. I'm going to use this. When we came onto this earth, we already knew how to grieve. I believe that we already knew grieving. We already knew how to process negative emotions. We're a little baby. We come here. Somebody hurts our feelings. Mama doesn't give us the bottle on time, and we cry. We cry about the bottle. We cry about a wet diaper, right? We are up walking. I have a set of twins, you guys. I have a set of twins that are 3 years old. They live upstairs. This morning, I heard them at 7 a.m. I went up and got them. I brought them down with me. I knew I was going to be packing because I was leaving. So I decided that I would allow them to sit with me while I was packing. Trust me when I tell you, the little girl sat on the little girl stood on the scale in my bathroom. She weighed 30.5. She weighed 30 pounds. I was like, oh my gosh, you're 30 pounds already. The little boy comes along. He wants to get on the scale. He puts his foot on the scale because it's his turn, right? It's his turn. She says no. The next thing I know, a fight breaks out. And I'm like, Karis, you have to give brother a turn. It's brother's turn to get on the scale. Eventually, at some point, she gets off the scale. His feelings were totally hurt. His emotions of sadness were totally showing up. He was sad. He was broken. The two of them together figured this out. I'm like, okay, come on, sister, it's time. They are 3 years old. They hurt each other's feelings every 5 minutes, and they have learned to process. She got off the scale, jumped away, walked away, and was just as happy as could be, right? Her emotions went through the full realm of the emotions, and they left her. He was sad, and he was crying, and I turned and looked at him, and even though he stood on the scale, he was still crying. And I said, hey, brother, I know you're sad, but go ahead and do your weight. And I'm telling you, in 1 minute, they went through the emotions. We came here with the ability to process emotions. I'm sorry, I'm not changing that. That's absolutely true. But over time, we're taking from those emotions. And that taken from those emotions looks like this. It looks a lot like this. You stop that crying. You stop that crying right now, or I'm going to give you something to cry for. Are you a big girl or are you a baby? I mean, at 3 years old, we're already telling boys that. Are you a big boy or are you a baby? We're already telling little boys that at 3 years old. Think about that, right? He was allowed to cry. He was allowed to have his emotions. And my hope and prayer for him is that we continue to allow him to have his emotions. And when he comes upon his grieving experience, and God forbid it's one of his parents at this stage, but it could be me, it could be Tony, it could be any of the other cousins that he has, he will be allowed to have those negative emotions processed through his body. Okay, number one, this is my story. I came here and I met a beautiful man named Tony, and I got married. And I was like, oh my gosh, how the hell do you do this? I thought I was going to get roses every day, and I was going to get this beautiful, I'm going to stop teaching in a minute, you guys, and ask questions, but just give me a minute. And I was going to get these roses every day, and Tony was going to take me out on a date every Friday night. And we were going to love each other. And wait, I also thought I was going to sleep in sexy pajamas. And I was going to wake up. Of course, I was going to have long, beautiful hair that was flowing down the back of down my back in my version of my happiness. What I quickly realized was none of that was true. None of that was real. One time, Tony was working on a show in Puerto Vallarta. I'll tell you the name of the show. He was working on Predator. He was working on Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was the summer. I don't know why. He sent me flowers. I don't know why. He sent me flowers. because it was summertime, so I don't know why he sent me the flowers. But anyway, he sent me roses. Oh my gosh, look at these long stem red roses. So beautiful. What lady doesn't want long stem red roses? And then when we finally got connected on the phone call, he spent 20 minutes telling me that those roses cost him $75. Now, keep in mind, you guys, it was 1986 or 87. He spent so much time telling me all he talked about was how much the roses cost. The joy and love of those roses were gone. And my heart was broken. I felt so sad. I just wanted to take those roses and throw them in the trash. Because I was never given the book on how to grieve. How to be married. Nobody gave me the book on how to be married. In this book, it will say, hey, speak your truth when you're married to your person. Let them understand. Hey, when you send your wife roses, don't tell her about the prices and complain about the prices over and over again. Learn how to communicate. That's what's in the book on how to be married. But I wasn't given that book, so I had to figure it out. I had to figure it out on my own. Friends, that thing about the roses was absolutely part of my grief. It was absolutely part of my grief that I had to work out. It was the grief that ended up in my marriage. I was never given the book on how to grieve. We had 3 children. Guess what they didn't give me also was how to raise children. They never gave me the book on how to raise children. And I'm telling you right now, you were never given the book on how to grieve. I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact. Until now, you were never taught how to grieve. And if you're never taught how to be married or given the instructions or raise children, and even though those may be very rewarding, I know you weren't taught how to grieve. And that's why I created the grief school. I created a grief school where we could all come in together and I could teach you. I could teach you the parts of what you need to grieve. Okay. I want to tell you what it looks like when you've done your grief work. What am I telling you? When you've done your grief work, a person who's done their grief work should be able to talk about their person without breaking down. You will still cry, but when you see that your person, you're going to tell these amazing stories. This is my best friend, Sharon. I love this picture. A friend of ours sent us this. She got this Tiffany frame and she sent it to me. There was a time where I couldn't look at this picture. And now I look at it with such joy and love. I was so blessed to have her in my life. I was so blessed. Friends, it took me the longest out of all my grieving experiences. This one took me the longest. It took me the longest to grieve her and learn how to grieve. When you go through your grieving process and you complete your relationship with your person, you should be able to look at them, talk about them, look at photos of them, and yes, you will still cry. The pain and the heartstrings from every time you hear their name. Oh, I thought the heart was still on there. When that grief pulls at your heart, that's gone because we cut it right here. There's no connection to the heartstring. We absolutely go in with scissors and we cut it. I can go out. I can go to the parties. I go to the celebrations. I'm not carrying a heavy backpack full of emotional pain. I laugh. I share stories. It is not a moment that we do not get together and we're not talking about Donovan and Austin. I can breathe. I'm living my life. I'm living my life. If you guys meet Erica, my sister, she will tell you, I'm living my best life. I'm living the best life that I know my boys would want me to live. I'm not living, I will miss them for the rest of my life, and I want them with me, but I'm living my best life with them. I take them with me everywhere. It is not uncommon for Erica to go somewhere. She meet at a bar, and the bar's named Austin's. She gets a bottle of wine, and it's named Donovan's. She posts it to us all the time. Those boys go everywhere with her. Sharon goes everywhere with me. Every single time I cut an onion, I smile. Because my dad used to scream that we never put enough onions in anything. Every time I cut an onion, I smile. So friends, Grieving and healing are things that we have to do on this journey on earth. Friends, if you believe in God, the universe, spirit, we came here with the ability from them to do this process. It was never meant for us to just suffer. Okay, I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to leave at 10:30 because I'm packing. I'm going to a funeral. My favorite uncle, Uncle Preston died just before 4th of July. And I'm going to be going to spend some time with him, say goodbye to him, and hold my cousin and hold her tight. All of my cousins. Memories that are of no use to us should be let go. Absolutely. Memories that are of no use to us should be let go. Now, I don't remember ever getting into a fight with Sharon in 15 years. We never got into a fight. We never had a disagreement. There were disagreements a lot with my dad. There were a lot of disagreements with my dad. There were a lot of disagreements and sadness and things that I didn't understand or things that I still had with Austin and with Donovan, right? So Donovan was 21. So he and I absolutely had a relationship together. And Austin was 10. And even though they were 10-year-old problems, there were still 10-year-old issues. And with my dad, there was a lot. That was a dude that was raising me. That was a dude who also didn't get the book on how to raise children, I might add. And he was using his country ways from Louisiana, which were children should be seen and not heard. My dad was strict. My dad was so strict. He pulled that belt out like it was nothing. I will also say Erica didn't get that dad because she came many years later. Sending you much love, Sharon. I pray that you take time for yourself and hugs. Yes, that's why I'm doing study hall in here today, because I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to be traveling, and I invited a lot of people from TikTok last night. I want to be able to show up. I did do a lot of grieving last week. I'm really prayerful, Paula, that I get there and that the tears absolutely come. I'm not a crier anymore because of the change, but I'm hoping that I can process some of the tears. So many memories of that guy. She saw you tag someone, Darlene. She said, this is a great place to come, heal, and love. Love you, friend. This is the place where we're teaching grief, where we're absolutely teaching people how to grieve and how to move beyond the pain of grief. So honored. Okay, Sunday. I want to tell you guys some things because I need you to know them before I leave. I'll be live on Instagram Thursday. Thursday, I'll be on Insta at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to be live on Instagram Thursday. I'm going to be Saturday. I'm going to be live in TikTok at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. I think that's what I said. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Even though I'm going to be in LA, I'm coming on at 10 a.m. That's just my regular morning live. This is the 19th, you guys. That's 7/19. But I want you to hear this because 7/19, somewhere around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time or after, I'm also going to be live at TikTok. And I'm doing the book signing with Erica on Saturday. So I'm going to be live twice on Saturday. This one is going to be in TikTok and on Facebook. I'm hoping, and I don't know who they have set up yet, but I'm hoping to do some interviews. I'm hoping to do some interviews with um, um, people who were there when Austin or Donovan died, people who have gone through the experience with us, and people who have read the book. So I'm hoping to do some interviews on Saturday. So I'm going to be live. I don't know for how many hours. I'm going to be on my Facebook and also Erica's Facebook. I'm going to be live, my regular live at 10 a.m. And I'm going to be on Instagram Thursday at 11. On the 20th, we're going to do Grieve That Shit. Look for the link to come in here. It's going to be another training. It's going to be on Zoom. This is going to be Zoom. You'll find a link in here. They're going to, Joby will post a link in here. And that's going to be really rad. That's where you're going to see me this week. That's where I'll be this week. Not a crier. I beg to differ. Love these memories. Yes. Being able to sit and tell the memories and share them without the pain is amazing. I can even tell some of the painful memories. I can tell the stories of when my family actually, I can tell the stories of when my families actually passed, when they actually died, the moment that I was there. I can tell those stories as well. Question. We still have a little bit more time. What is the one thing that has surprised you the most about the grief? What is the one thing that has surprised you the most about the grief? I'm going to write mine as well. And I think that's the thing. This is the thing for me. The one thing that surprised me the most about the grief is that nobody knew how to do it. Nobody knew how to grieve. Nobody had the answers. Tina says, then I'm still here. That I can get through it even when I don't think I can. Paula, that I can get through it even when I think they didn't think I can. That's huge because there's a lot of times where we think if I start crying, I won't stop. But we do. It's surprising me how all-encompassing it is. Yes. Yes. That it affects your whole body. Yeah. It affects your entire body, your brain, your heart, your soul, your spirit. Absolutely. Absolutely. No one knew how to support me. That's it, Elizabeth. That is it. And it has touched so many other past grieving experiences. Yes, that's huge. EK says that no one knew how to support me. That's it. And that it has touched so many others. That Jerry says that I can go up and down in any moment. It surprised me that I can go up and down in any moment. Here's another surprise. We're supposed to feel it. We're supposed to feel it. We're supposed to be sad. Think about that, you guys. My best friend of 15 years died. I'm supposed to be sad. I'm not supposed to be this girl. I will also tell you guys, she doesn't exist anymore. She doesn't exist anymore. She is forever changed. She's not this girl's best friend. She's this girl. White is still her favorite color, though. I'll miss the Sunday Zoom. I believe it's at 7 p.m. It's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes. I will have it the next Sunday, too. But it'll be a different lesson. Kathy says, no matter what, it's always front and center. Yes, that's grief. The grief around identity is huge. Yes, it is. You have really helped me to name that. Oh, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Okay, next question. Finish the sentence. My support system is, finish the sentence. My support system is, my support system is. Sandra said, I've learned that you will never be the person you were when they were alive. Yeah. That is a grieving experience also. Yes, it is. My support system is. My support system is broken. My support system is amazing. My support system has always shown up for me. My brother and the grief school community. My support system is my brother and the grief school community. So you have a support system, Miss Debbie, which is amazing. You've actually stepped forward. And hear me out. About, I don't know, Miss Debbie, it was about a year ago or so, maybe a year and a half ago. She reached out to me. We had our first session together. She started showing up in the lives. Started showing up. She's made friends in here. She's made friends in the grief community. She and her brother talk about it quite often. Kathy says, my support system is on vacation. Oh, that's so hard. EK says, my support system is gone. Rebecca says, my support system is evolving. Jerry says, helpful, but not knowing what to do. Yeah, that's true too. Oh, that's really good, Jerry. They can be helpful, but they really don't know what to do. Oh my gosh, I need to teach on that. That's really good. There's a lot of people that can be helpful, right? My neighbor comes over and she takes out my trash. Very helpful. Doesn't help my grief, right? People at church are still bringing me meals. Very helpful, but not helping my grief. My support system is so imperative. Again, I learned this too. Having someone to talk with and the resources have kept me above water. Yes, it's imperative that we have a grief support system. At least one, friends. Let me show you something. This was my grief support. This was my grief support. She was there when Austin died. Erica was talking to me and I was talking to her. She was there when Austin died. She was there when my dad died. She came and hung out at my dad's. Sharon is also from Louisiana. So we made gumbo, we're the same culture, everything. She was there for me. She was there when my dad died. She was there when Donovan died. When Donovan died, I was at the funeral. Everything was set up. The National Guard came. They put up this beautiful tent. Everything was set up. It was ready to go. I don't know why, but I walked up this hill and I leaned over and I had my hands on my knees and I didn't know what time it was. And I wanted to leave. I was like, okay, everything's ready. I'm going to go. I'm just going to go. I'm going to get out of here. I'm just going to leave. Nobody's going to know that I'm gone. I'm just leaving. I was crying. It was 15 minutes before the funeral started. And I just wanted out of there. I wanted off this earth. I wanted out of this grieving experience. I wanted out. A lot of you share this with me. I wanted out. I had my hands on my knees. I had my head down. I was crying. And I was creating my exit plan. And I picked my head up. And there walking towards me was Sharon. It was in Howell, Texas. It's in a town 45 minutes from here that's like by nothing. And there walking towards me was Sharon. The most amazing experience of my life. And I just fell into her arms and cried. She came for the funeral. She stayed all that night at Erica's, till the evening. She went back to her hotel. She got on a plane and left the next day. She was my support. When I tell you I needed her, I needed a Sharon when she died. I needed a Sharon. I needed a her. Also, I know for a fact I didn't let anybody in. People tried to get in, but I wouldn't let them. They tried to help me, but I wouldn't let them. My support system is there, whether it's my BFF, family, or live support grief sections on TikTok, or the once a month meetings I go to for grieving parents. Love it, Tina. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's so amazing. There's a lot of people that don't have grief support. So I'm so glad that you have it. So glad that you all have some form. For the people who don't have it, make sure you're hanging out in this community. Make sure you're showing up here. Aida says, is my friends in the grief school. All right, let me check the time. We have time for one more question. I want to know your emotion for today. I'm doing an emotional check-in. Today, I feel, and I want to know the emotion. Today, I feel, just give me the emotion, one word emotion. I feel sad. I feel happy. I feel broken. I feel numb. I feel melancholy. I feel content. What is the emotion you're feeling in your grief today? Depleted. My heart to yours, Miss Elizabeth. My heart to yours. Today I feel bland. Is that an emotion? Yeah. So it's sort of like neutral. Debbie says I feel lighter. Debbie says I feel lighter. Aida says I feel sad. Bland. Like neutral, Sandra? Kathy says I feel grateful. Beautiful. I feel a little nervous. I feel a little nervous because I got to go pack and you're leaving. Neutral sounds right. Not up or down. I love when grievers get to neutral. It happens a lot. People get to neutral, and I feel like you can look around and see things that you don't normally see. I feel like when you're in neutral, you're open to seeing things that you don't normally see. Because when you're in pain, you're seeing all the sad. And when you're up, you're seeing all the up. But when you're in neutral, you kind of have this chance to see things that, did I know that tree was so green? Rebecca says, so sad. Had back surgery yesterday. Wow. So I'm in pain. My love. Okay. Pain is your physical. The pain is your physical. Give me the emotion that you're feeling within the pain. What emotion is your heart feeling? You're feeling physical pain. You might be frustrated. You might be sad. What might we be if we're in pain? Frustrated, sad, fear, isolated. There's a lot of things. Pain, emotionally. Okay. Oh, you were the one that talked about the divorce. Oh. Okay. So you're feeling the pain in your heart. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, love. I like your viewpoint on neutral. I think when you're neutral, it just helps you see things different. And I love that. I feel indifferent often. Really? Indifferent? I wonder if that's a protection mechanism for you. I wonder if that's you really trying to protect yourself from feeling other things. Quite interesting. I love it. Everybody, thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for sharing your grief emotions. Thank you for allowing me to be here, even for this short period, to help you with the grief. I want you to know that I see you. I see you. And my job is to help us move beyond this grief. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm the owner of the Grief School. I started the Grief School for this very reason. I'm going to quickly go over where you're going to see me again this week. Know that I'll be traveling, and don't be surprised if I just pop in or out. I don't know. It probably won't be during the funeral. Can't imagine my cousin would want me to go live during the funeral. Thursday, I'm going to be on Instagram at 11 a.m. Saturday, I'm going live twice. I'm going live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And, oops, this is wrong. This is Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be 5. So in Texas, it'll be 7. Central Standard Time will be 7. This is what time it starts. It starts at 5 p.m. I'm going to be live on TikTok and Facebook. It's during the book signing. We're going to be live on both. Saturday. And then February 20th, which is the Sunday, I want you guys to join me for the Grieve That Shit. It's going to be in Zoom. It's going to be in Zoom. Safe travels. Thank you for all that you do. You're very welcome. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.